Breaking news tonight from the Dallas area. There is a standoff underway after we were told a police officer was shot at an apartment complex that's in the town of Richardson. As we take a live look at the scene north of Dallas, police say an officer was responding to a call at the complex when someone opened fire.
You can see all those flashing lights, and we know at least one other person was shot. The barricaded suspect has exchanged gunfire with police. We are awaiting word on the condition of the wounded officer. We will update you as soon as we know more on air and on the KHOU 11 News app.
Also tonight, a Houston father is one step closer to justice after his son was kidnapped and taken to Brazil. The case turned into an international custody battle. But today, 2 people were finally charged.
And that's after 5 very long years. Our Marcelino Benito is live tonight with who's been charged and the father's reaction. Marcelino?
Guys, the boys' Brazilian grandparents are locked up in Miami tonight. Both of them are facing international kidnapping charges. Meanwhile, tonight, the father tells me he's feeling hope for the first time in a long time.
This July, it'll be 5 years.
Chris Brand remembers the day his son Nico was kidnapped, abducted by his ex-wife Marceli, and taken to Brazil.
Every day since that day has been a fight to try and get him back.
That custody battle now back in the headlines. This morning, the FBI arrested his ex-wife's parents, Carlos and Jemima Guimarães, as soon as their flight from Brazil landed in Miami.
I think they're utterly shocked.
His former in-laws charged with international parental kidnapping and conspiracy.
Not only did they facilitate this, but that they planned it. This was a premeditated abduction. And we know that beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Court documents unsealed today detail how Marceli took Nico to Brazil to attend her brother's wedding. She promised to return, but never did. And it was her parents that helped her establish permanent residence in Brazil, going as far as buying return plane tickets to create an illusion that she would be back to the U.S. with Nico.
This entire event has occurred because they lied about what they were going to do.
So Chris has had to watch Nico grow up from a distance, making trips as often as possible to Salvador, Brazil.
I live for those moments.
Those visits are always supervised by armed guards hired by his former in-laws, the same couple now facing charges in the U.S.
This is the most hope that I've had since the beginning.
Chris has since remarried. An 8-year-old Nico has a new baby brother. This father now hoping he's one step closer to having both his sons together in Houston.
I want him to know that I fight for him every single day, and that he is loved, and that I'm doing everything I can to protect him and to make sure that he has a normal of a life as he can have in this situation.
Now, we've learned those grandparents were actually on their way right here to Houston to celebrate another grandson's birthday. Those plans now obviously on hold. They have a bond hearing in Miami in front of a federal judge next week. For now, we're live downtown. I'm Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.
We'll continue to follow this story. Marcelino Benito, thanks so much. So another cold front in the bank.
Here we go again. Pretty chilly outside right now. How cold in the morning, David?
Well, here's the thing. We've got clouds right now. You can see them scraping the top of the skyscrapers there. But those clouds may begin to clear, which may allow temps to drop near freezing in some northern neighborhoods. First, today, high temp was 57. The normal high is 65. On this day last year, high temp was 86 and we were sweating. What a difference a year does make. Okay, here's what's happening with the skies. They are beginning to clear in our northern counties as the rain pulls offshore and over into Louisiana. But these little pockets of clearing sky mean colder temperatures as a little bit of radiational cooling can take place. So that suggests that places like Huntsville and College Station and Brenham may end up with a light freeze in the morning. You may want to cover whatever tender plants are left. We're going to have a cold morning across the board, but we may also see some sunshine tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Hope does abide. Thanks, David. A student at Klein Forest High School has been arrested because police say he brought a gun to school. 18-year-old Nicholas Wynn was picked up in the campus parking lot yesterday. Police didn't tell us if that gun was loaded. Wynn faces a criminal charge and disciplinary action from the district.
Drivers are having to dodge not one, but 2 large potholes at a busy intersection in southeast Houston.
Very narrow little platform. That's all you got.
This is the I-45 feeder headed north at Cullen Boulevard, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to feel it. You can see the deep potholes on both sides of the road, leaving drivers very little room in between.
It just adds to the Houston traffic stress that I already have to face.
Well, we made sure TxDOT is aware of the problem today. They acknowledged the pothole problem, but didn't call back to tell us when there would be a fix.
We would like to know what you think about this next story. President Donald Trump and the Pentagon are planning a grand military parade in Washington, D.C. Veterans here in Houston already have split opinions on this.
What's it for? It's his grandiose self, I do believe.
We've been in so many wars. Everybody knows our capability and what we can do.
Other veterans on our Facebook page, however, support the idea. By the way, we haven't had a national military parade since after the Gulf War in 1991. This year's parade could happen in November. So what do you think? The U.S. should hold a national military parade or not? Vote on our KHOU 11 News app or online, khou.com/vote now. We'll be checking the numbers later in the newscast.
This video right here is scary to see. A terrifying ride for a sheriff's deputy near Austin. A driver intentionally spat off with the deputy dangling from the car.
Yep, do not turn on. Can I have your keys, sir? Back up.
Just unbelievable. The deputy approached the driver because the car was not moving in the middle of the street. Incredibly, the deputy did not fire her gun. Instead, she deployed a taser on the man and was able to put the car in park. The sheriff for Williamson County calling her actions heroic.
She demonstrated a sense of confidence that I wanted to be transparent about. And I am, as a sheriff, am extremely proud of her actions today.
The driver is now in jail on a $500,000 bond. The sheriff said he had marijuana and cough syrup in the car. Get this, the female deputy was new to the job. She's only been on the streets by herself for about a month
Fortunately,
now.
she survived that.
A former country singer turned rodeo roper has a museum in Rosenberg celebrating black cowboys.
And you can get in all this month during Black History Month for free. It is his way of shining a light on a hidden heritage. Here's Larry Seward.
Larry Callies owns history. At least keys to collections of boots, buckles, stirrups, and photos of his dad, uncles, and heroes like Tex Williams and Freddie Gordon, black cowboys, given their own museum.
I just don't like to lose my heritage. I don't like to lose things that we used to have. And I brought a lot of stuff just from me picking up stuff.
Years after this former rodeo roper turned country singer lost his voice, Callies stumbled into his past, records from plantation days that revealed connections between his ancestors and a white East Texas minister who had kids with slaves. Uncovering hidden history became his passion.
This is really interesting to me, so I just kept getting historical stuff.
He got a lot of saddles from friends too, memorabilia from segregated rodeos in the 60s, and inspiration to celebrate black bull riders and Hall of Fame cowboys whose little-known stories Callies once shared.
People think cowboys originated on TV. They didn't. They originated in the slaves. They had a houseboy, they had a yard boy, and somebody worked the cows. He was called a cowboy. And so the black cowboy was the first cowboys. And they came from right here in Fort Bend County. This is where our cowboys came from.
Slowly reeling in visitors for 8 months, Callies opened his doors for free during Black History Month, hoping it helps his heroes get their due. In Rosenberg, standing for Houston, Larry Seward, KHOU 11 News.
Oh, that's a nice little gem down there in Rosenberg,
it is.
isn't
Have
it?
to check it out.
Still ahead.